वो बात जो मेरे मन में थी वो भंते जी ने भी कही अभी। मतलब मैं यही सोच रहा था कि इतना अ, इतना जो मैं ज्ञान दिया है भगवान बुद्ध ने, उसके बीच में जब ये बातें पढ़ने को आती है ना कि सूर्य देवता, चंद्रमा देवता और ये सब देवता और इस तरह की बातें जो हैं, तो ये जाहिर है कि उस समय का जो कल्चर है और उस समय उसका बहुत बहुत बड़ा इम्पैक्ट है। तो इस वजह से सारी चीजें उसमें दिखाई दे रही हैं। अदरवाइज तो, एंड दिस बीइंग एट्रीब्यूटेड टू भगवान बुद्ध, तो उसमें मैं तो अपनी तरफ से बहुत बड़ा क्वेश्चन मार्क लगाता हूँ, क्योंकि this is something which the followers, then in the later years of things have perhaps added to them, because एक
Maybe,
कल्चर तो
maybe,
था ही जहां पर इस तरह की बातें थी।
maybe. I don't have any comment on that. Maybe. But maybe the other way is also true. Just because modern science cannot see them, it doesn't mean they are not there.
मतलब उनको देवता का रूप देना, मतलब बात यह है कि
No, it is not a question of we are looking at it as a material entity.
हाँ,
It's not. He's not saying though this. He's saying the
they gave
devas residing, deities residing in the sun. You may say, how can people reside in the sun? That is our limitation of our knowledge and understanding.
तो
We,
हुआ
we should be open to that. I mean, open to the possibility that this is true. Yeah, it may be wrong also. Of course, we're open to both. Based on our limited intellect and limited understanding, if we reject it outright, then it's not a very quote unquote scientific thing.
life can't be
One,
sustained on Chandrama. I mean, things
pardon?
cannot be sustained on these planets.
Why do you think so?
चंद्रमा पे तो पता चल गया नहीं हो सकता कुछ भी।
क्यों क्यों
सो हॉट
हाँ,
दैट
human beings cannot be there,
मार्स।
but there are beings who don't need any food. There are beings who don't need any physical food. हम कई बार पढ़ चुके हैं अभस्सर देव के जो देवता हैं,
या
they reside on prithvi. They don't need any physical food. They are too fine to to take any physical food. They won't. ये हम assume कर रहे हैं।
ठीक कह
और
रहे
जो
हो।
हायर रेल्स के देवता हैं, फोर्थ जाना, थर्ड जाना, they don't need any
दे
food.
डोंट नीड फिजिकल बॉडी टू बी देयर।
Physical food also, no, not even those who have a physical body. जो रूप में परम लोक के देवता हैं, they have physical body, fine material bodies so called, but they don't eat food. They live on priti. It's mentioned at many places. In fact, Buddha mentions to his monks also when एक जगह जब वो जाते हैं उनको भोजन नहीं मिलता और मार आता है, देखो भूखे रहोगे सारे तुम्हारे मरवाना जाएंगे भूख में, डोंट वरी, we can now live on priti just like our Devas.
थैंक यू,
So
थैंक यू।
that's possible. जी, कमलेश पे है।
सर, ये आपने बहुत अच्छा ये बता दिया है। नॉर्मली सर अपन जो बिलीव करते हैं कि बुद्धिज्म मतलब बुद्ध का जो कॉन्सेप्ट है बेस्ड ऑन द साइंटिफिक है। वहाँ पे अपन हर हर चीज में अपन वहाँ पे टेस्ट किया जाता है। मतलब प्रेजेंट में जो अच्छा है उसको मतलब इमीडिएटली रिजल्ट आता है, एवरीथिंग इज देयर। ये जो देवताओं के जो मैंने मतलब जैसे कहा सर, अपना रणवीर जी बता रहे थे, ये एक जो अरंत हुए सब भी लोग इकट्ठा है, ऐसा कुछ मानते हैं सर? ऐसा मतलब देवता कॉन्सेप्ट तो उसमें बुद्धा इज द सुप्रीम पावर मतलब इन द यूनिवर्स उसी टाइम पे। तो उनसे सुप्रीम और कोई ऐसा है इसमें या
ऐसा तो
जो
नहीं
पहले
कहा
हुए
गया,
बुद्धे?
ऐसा तो नहीं
सर
कहा ना उसमें। दे हैव कम टू पे रेस्पेक्ट्स टू बुद्धा, प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड।
अच्छा हाँ,
दे हैव कम
ओके,
टू पे
रिस्पेक्ट ऑफ द
रेस्पेक्ट्स
बुद्धा।
टू बुद्धा। यू सी जो पहले चार चार लोग जो चैंटिंग करते हैं, वो चार लोग कौन है? दे आर फ्रॉम शुद्धवासा लोका। शुद्धवासा लोक मीन्स दे आर ऑल अनागामीज।
हाँ हाँ हाँ,
फोर
सही कह रहे
अनागामीज who do the chanting, बाकी तो करते ही नहीं कुछ।
हो।
Others are
हाँ,
just coming and paying
ओके
respects. So they have come to pay respect, to see the Sangha of 500
कम एंड
Arhants and pay respects. That's all. He's not telling them that they are superior to Buddha.
हाँ हाँ, दैट इज
Obviously not. They are coming to pay respects
हाँ या
because they also want to get
रेस्पेक्ट।
enlightened. They also want. हमने पढ़ा था ना सक्का पन्ना सूत्र में भी ये बात आई थी that
करेक्ट
सक्का
करेक्ट।
king of Kautimsa Loka, he comes and pays respects and he wants to ask questions. How do we get free from conflict and so on? So they are coming
Okay.
to, because they are also wise people and they want to become enlightened. They understand the importance of getting out of the cycle of birth and death. And you can see how
So to
this
take,
sutta ends. Mara, who is
okay.
the king of the highest Deva realm, the Paranimmat Basmati Deva.
Yes, sir.
He's a son
Yes,
of that king. He still is under that delusion of trying to
okay.
frighten them and create a fear in the minds of these people. So the kind of various assortment of devas are mentioned. Some of them are also mentioned. उसका नाम था ना कि वो जिनके मन विशुद्ध है, जिनके मन दूषित है, ऐसे लोग भी आए. कुछ ऐसे उनके सर्वेंट्स भी थे जो कि धूर्त थे. Those are also mentioned there. Some people who are very deceptive, they also came there.
Yeah.
Some asuras had come there, big asuras who come there. Then
Okay.
there are Nagas
Yes.
and Supanna. Supanna is Garuda actually. तो गरुड़ और नाग
Okay.
साथ साथ बैठे हैं तो वो कह रहे हैं उनको शरण दी गई. बुद्धा has given them refuge that they Garudas will not harm you there. So they are exchanging courtesies there. Normally Garuda will pound upon snake and eat it up. So all that is mentioned in it. So those are small, small details.
Okay.
If you reflect upon them, you can see the impact of the assembly. That even sworn enemies, those who are eating, Garuda eats, that is food, Nagas are their food. Still they are sitting there side by side because of they are sitting in the presence of the enlightened one. So it shows you
Okay.
the great abilities of the enlightened
Yeah.
one, this metta, that they are all
Yeah.
sitting there peacefully, in spite of their different qualities, different asuras and devas constantly fight, but they're not fighting there. They're sitting peacefully. They all come pray to pay
Okay.
respects. So that shows you the possibilities of enlightened one's presence. If an truly enlightened one is present in the world, how much he can
Yeah.
affect the situation.
Okay.
So it gives you
Thank you, sir.
great, I mean, it gives people great joy that you see a truly enlightened one can have so much impact on the surroundings.
And having joined together of a number of matlab, lakhs of the devata, different parts. So that give
Yeah,
the power of protection, sir. Matlab, this is very protective way of
yeah,
talking. No? This is,
yeah, it is she chanted as a, जैसे बाकी है आटानाटी सुत्ता है और
yeah, yeah,
धज्जग
yeah.
सुत्ता है, they are chanted under different conditions, Similarly,
Okay.
Bhujanga Sutta is chanted for illness, Atanati is chanted, Dhajaga is chanted for fear. This is chanted for good occasions. The
Yeah,
belief
yeah.
is that when these are chanted and the names of various devas are recited with devotion, they feel very happy. Yeah, we were there in the Buddha's assembly and they remember it. And they feel
Okay.
happy and they come and give a kind, and their very presence is a kind of protection from any obstruction. And when you do major activities, there's so many obstructions. So in Buddhist
Yes, sir.
countries, it is chanted during happy events like marriage, construction of a house,
Yeah,
monastery
yeah.
construction. So people chant it because there are all kinds of obstructions which can happen when you are doing a new thing
Correct.
in a new place. So that is the belief.
Correct. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Uh, Another point which I wanted to just make, if you permit me, just 1 minute. When we have this thing, then when we look back at our own culture, which has been there for the thousands of years, so we have Shiva, we have Krishna, we have Ram. Now they are also being represented as Bhagavan. But then in the present world, there is most of the Buddhists do not believe in that. What I'm trying to say कि एक तरफ से हम देवताओं की बात तो
Which
करते हैं,
which
लेकिन
Buddhist you are talking about? That depends on that. You go to Thailand, go to Burma, go to Sri Lanka, they all believe.
मैं इंडिया की बात कर रहा हूँ, जो मतलब इंडिया में जो
हाँ,
Buddhists हैं.
इंडिया में बुद्धिज्म तो एक अलग वैरायटी का है ना. You can't do that. So that cannot be a complete statement about Buddhists don't believe in this. Yeah, in India, many Buddhists don't believe. That's true. Many.
ठीक, थैंक यू।
That's true. That is true. Because
I
of
mean,
certain reasons. Yeah.
that's generally true. Some people everywhere will not believe in something. No, that's a
Yeah.
ऐसा थोड़ी है कि सारा ही जो सो कॉल्ड थाई बुद्धिज्म है दैट इज टोटली इन लाइन विद जो हमने इतना मेहनत से पढ़ा राइट व्यू वगैरह, ऐसा थोड़ा ही है फॉर इंस्टेंस।
Yeah.
दैट्स ऑलवेज द केस।
Even in the Theravada tradition, there are so many sub branches and so many kind of differences. So
I
it's
mean,
up to us really.
like we were discussing that day, simply the label Buddhism does not in and of itself imply कि my understanding or um, what I am practicing is in line with the Buddha's teaching ना, तो जरूरी नहीं है। ये हमने आई थिंक उस दिन भी डिस्कशन किया था ना जब समथिंग एल्स दैट केम अप।
So what we are doing is we are studying the suttas, and we have a belief that these suttas are the original suttas chanted at the first cause. That's a belief. One may say it is not true, one may say it is true, then we can't prove it or disprove it. The issue is some people say some are added later, some are added later. No, there's no proof of that statement. It's only a conjecture. The Western people will not like many of so-called rationalists in our country, agnostics. They will not like to believe in all these kind of humble jumbo of devas and all that. Same thing is true of many Western people. Many, not all. So that doesn't mean that their belief is right and others' belief is wrong. It doesn't mean that. It's very equally, whether we believe or disbelieve, we are equally, we can be equally wrong. Both ways. The issue is whether by believing in this is causing any harm. So the whole X criteria is whether this is going to cause me wholesome tendencies to increase or unwholesome to increase. That's the point I always would like to for us to consider. इसके विश्वास से क्या हमारे में कोई अनहोलसम क्वालिटी बढ़ती है तो नहीं विश्वास करना चाहिए। अगर इसके विश्वास से होलसम क्वालिटीज बढ़ती हैं तो करना चाहिए। अगर इसके विश्वास से हमको दूसरों को एक्सेप्ट करने में सहायता मिलती है कि हम दूसरों को जो हे दृष्टि से देखते हैं, जो हमारे सारे ट्रेडिशन को हमने नेगेट कर दिया, तो क्या उससे कुछ फायदा होगा इसको समझने से? दैट इज द पॉइंट। So we have to use these things intelligently. All teachings have to be used intelligently, especially those which are dependent on faith, which we don't have at the moment direct access. But we are, Buddha is advising us, come on, practice. वहां पे भी जो 500 अरहंत है उसके केस में आपने देखा होगा कि उनकी सबकी साइकिक पावर सेम नहीं थी। Some could see 100, some could see 1,000, some could see infinite. It was depending on different levels of psychic powers. So all this gives credence to the fact that what is being said is true. This is what is the reality of the arahants. जो हम पढ़ रहे हैं, दो तरह के अरहंत जो हमने पढ़े, जो जो कि जिनमें ध्यान की वेरियस कैपेबिलिटीज हैं. So that is reflected in the sutta itself. If you see that carefully, and we can see the Buddha is telling them also, sadhukam manasikaroma, put attention to what I say. Don't look at these people and wonder what is going on. Because many of them may not be able to see them and say, kya ho raha hai? So, but they have a tremendous purity of mind, so they won't get, doubt won't arise. Buddha is saying, it's true. So that's the way we can look at it. Yes, sir. This is Sharma.
I have two small questions. ये जो
Yes.
हमने सूत्र पढ़ा है हमारी चैंटिंग बुक में कहीं नहीं है शायद।
नहीं निशान नहीं।
हाँ जी।
तो हमने अभी मैंने कहा ना हम वहाँ गए थे संगाराम, मैंने उस दिन उसको चैंट करने के लिए इसको भी ट्रांसलेट कर दिया था, मैंने चैंटेड इट देयर
अच्छा
बिकॉज वी आर बीन हैविंग इनफाइनाइट ऑब्स्ट्रक्शंस देयर आल्सो।
या
सो वी थॉट कि चलो और तो कुछ हमारे बस में है नहीं, ये तो है, चैंट तो कर लें, कुछ नुकसान तो नहीं होगा, फायदा ही हो जाएगा।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
दैट्स द वे वी वर्क इट। सो इन
दूसरा
लास्ट 2
शायद,
विजिट्स वी चैंटेड इट देयर।
दैट्स वेरी गुड, आई होप सारी ऑब्स्ट्रक्शन खत्म हो जाए। और दूसरा ये था कि आई माइट हैव मिस्ड, तो कहीं महेश और विष्णु का नाम मुझे दिखा नहीं इस कैंटीन में।
वेंडू,
हाँ
इट
जी।
इज पाली में है, आप देखिएगा उसमें
अच्छा, पाली में क्या है?
फुटनोट्स। वेंडू,
अच्छा,
वेंडू।
ओके।
तो अगर आप जैसे बनते जी ने कहा ना, उसको देखेंगे सुता सेंटर में तो और डिटेल में मिल जाएगा।
अच्छा, तो
उसमें
दोनों
फुट नोट्स
ये,
में सबके नाम, जिस जिसके नाम है वो लिखे हुए हैं।
ओके ओके, अच्छा, तो इसमें दोनों नाम
अगर
पाली में कवर हो जाते
हाँ
हैं।
जी, दो नाम
हिंदी
तो
में
है
नहीं।
डायरेक्टली।
हाँ, हिंदी में नहीं दिखे कहीं।
या
अच्छा
मैंने ट्रांसलेट पाली को पाली रहने दिया, लेकिन फुट नोट्स में डाला है जहाँ जहाँ मुझे
अच्छा
आवश्यक लगा।
जी।
हाँ
और
जी
दूसरा
सर।
इंटरेस्टिंग बात ये थी कि ऑफ कोर्स इट्स ओनली अ फैक्ट कि जितने भी पहले सम्यक संबुद्ध हुए हैं और आने वाले टाइम में भी होंगे, सबके टाइम में ये सारे ये देवता डिसेंड करेंगे।
जिस तरह का महासमय, महासमय
हाँ
एक ग्रेट कॉन्ग्रीगेशन होती है।
हाँ,
या
ऐसा ऐसा मतलब दैट्स
इज ए
वेरी
काइंड ऑफ,
इंटरेस्टिंग।
या
ठीक है, थैंक यू, थैंक यू।
प्रोफेसर अमित प्रसाद।
Uh, I don't know how to say what I want to say, but over the years, I have understood the concept of devas in different ways, coming from different um, perspectives. One perspective has been to understand them as forces of nature. They're representing the forces of nature, and this is also something that is often mentioned. Another perspective is कि जैसे सुर असुर वगैरह की कंसेप्ट है, these are all things in your mind which you have to kind of understand and balance. जो पुराण की कथाएं हैं, उनको शायद ऐसे ही समझने के लिए हमें एडवाइस किया जाता था किसी समय, और शायद अभी भी किया जाता है, कि ये जो संग्राम है ये आपके अंदर का संग्राम है. सो गिवन ऑल दिस पर्सपेक्टिव्स, थोड़ा सा कंफ्यूजन होना तो नेचुरल है.
No, that's fine. Secular Buddhism advocate this concept, that is perfect fine. It doesn't matter. If one wants to work with that, that also is fine, certainly. That is the way attitude of secular Buddhism. They don't want to get into these non-human considerations of any kind. That's fine. I mean, it doesn't affect our practice in directly. It can create some difficulties
No, no.
because
So
for an
this
Anand,
has
it is mentioned, as we studied recently, you should have no attachment to all the 7 stations of consciousness. What are those 7 stations of consciousness? They are the various realms of existence, various levels of attachments. Attachment to Rupa Brahmalok, attachment to Arupa Brahmalok, or which you may also experience them as, but attachment to particular experiences of that kind. You can interpret them as that way also. It depends on how, which approach we follow. It's perfectly fine.
and since this is a new perspective that is coming in front of us, based on these different realms that we have discussed, and
Yeah, because this concept of Deva is interspersed throughout the Tipitaka. How much of it will be say is false? Then everything will fall. Everything will fall flat.
इसीलिए पूछ रहा हूँ सर कि what is the right way for us to.
Yeah, the way I understand it is this: yes, there are beings superior to human beings, who have greater merits than us, greater accomplishments in terms of meditation, and they can help in removing obstructions in our path. And we, as householders, if we have if we have great amount of faith in Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, that can protect us. And then faith in Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha says, you chant this, you chant that, you chant that, isn't it? If we have faith in Buddha, and then this various things he says to monks, he tells them, when there is fear, you chant this. When you go to forest, you chant this. When you go to live in seclusion, you do this chanting. And whenever you are getting uh, bothered by the non-human beings, you do the eternity chanting and so on. So even if we have faith in Buddha, then we have faith in his words. So then we do the chanting. We can just do the chanting, yeah, well, Buddha said it, so let us do it. That's fine. But we can do it with an understanding. That's the point. So it's a matter of, because many of the important teachings have come through the agency of Devas. You can see it in the whole of this Tipitaka history.
सब जगह है pick up.
So Devas have played a role in making teachings available to us in great manner. Sakkapanna Sutta is an example, and there's a whole Devta Samyutta in Samyutta Nikaya, and they appear at various places. Bahya is goaded by a Devta to go there and get liberated. Had that Devta not come, Bahya would never have been liberated. He would have been remained as a ascetic. So you can see the role they can play from the suttas, which we revere so much. Bahya Sutta is highly respected. So we can see that Devta plays a role and tells him where to go. That's all he can do. He can't give teaching. He can't do anything more than that. But that itself is a huge help. It's like a Kalyan Mitra, a good friend. A good friend helps you to find the right way. That's it. So one could have that attitude. Or one can say, okay, I'm tentatively, I'm not ready to believe. That's fine. So let me keep practicing the way Buddha is saying. That is fine. No issue. But the problem arises because with me, I saw in the first many number of years, still I was as a teacher in a particular tradition. There was a complete disdain of all practices in the country. Complete disdain. We developed contempt for others, condescending attitude towards them. क्या मूर्खों की तरह करते रहते हैं. There's no devas, there's nothing like this. Which I find now, after having read all that, I feel sorry for that I was doing that. That's the whole purpose. And I know not only me, many of us have been doing, because I know many friends personally. So to bring balance back, because a mind which has any kind of defilement, howsoever subtle, will not be able to break through.
The question that I have in this discussion is, yes, I agree that all these conversations with devas exist in the suttas, and also many of the teachings seem to have been routed in that manner. But could this also be? This is being a devil's advocate. I'm sorry for saying this.
Yeah, that's all right. That's many bhikkhus have told us that. Yeah.
Could this also be inspirations coming from within Bhagwan Buddha and knowing the culture of the country in which he's staying and propagating these teachings? Perhaps that's a way of conveying the.
But I can't believe that. I can't believe that Buddha will engage in that kind of deception. This is deception, actually. This is wrong speech.
No, why? This is not a deception.
Yeah, to say that Deva came to me at night and illuminated the Jetavana and
it
said
could be
this.
also an internal inspiration, isn't it? That could also mean an
giving him a
internal
name
conspiracy.
is deception, actually. He's trying to impress people. He's trying to use the cultural factors to impress people. Come on, join me. I can't believe that. That would be disrespect to Buddha. You can say, I don't agree, that's fine. But to say that Buddha created a name of these devas.
I'm doing this just to understand better. It's
Yeah,
not
no,
that.
I'm also being very frank with you, very
Right.
frankly telling you that if we have respect for Buddha, there's no way that he can engage in false speech. This is false speech. And in the suttas where we talked of Shila, he mentions it so clearly that this is false. ये आजीविका ही गलत है. What are the wrong आजीविका जो भी हमने भी पढ़ी थी? We studied it in the Samanya Phala Sutta. Gita told us all those list of. They include this kind of thing, engaging in deception so as to get respect, so as to get the four requisites met in good manner. चलो राजा को खुश कर लो, उसको कह दो, किसी और को खुश कर लो, ये कह दो. No, that Buddha will never do that. He will not be a Buddha if he was to do that.
Gee. I
So
think that makes sense.
that's my view, of course. Because my understanding of the teachings is that Buddha will not break any of the 237 shilas which is laid down for monks.
I appreciate the comments that you're making. Thank you very much.
Okay. Now, Prakashan, कहिए.
सर मैंने कुछ कहना था. हेलो.
जी 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 प्रकाश जी बोल रहे थे.
Sir, my take is that in after reading the sutta, worshipping deity may not be a bad idea, and they also can protect people within their limitation.
For the people who want to believe in deities and want to use that, it's fine. We don't have to look down upon that. That's my
Yes, yes,
for
yes.
For us, if we are really devout followers of Buddha, we have Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha as the greatest refuge. That's it. And so when we do these chantings which are recommended by the Buddha, we are doing it because Buddha has recommended them. That's all. Not that we are changing our object of devotion. We are giving respect to them. Giving respect to them is one thing, and devoted taking refuge is another. I won't take refuge in a deva, no.
There are people around us.
Yeah,
there
they
are
are
people
doing
around
it.
us. They
Very
worship
good.
it. I think we should respect their.
We should respect them. Yeah, that is the whole purpose.
That is important. Rather negating their whatever interest or their belief, basically.
Because I have been guilty of that, so there's a feeling of that kind. And not only me, large number of my friends and fellow teachers and all that, they're all doing that. So I wish to correct myself. That's all I'm saying.
So it means those deities can bless them and give them a good wishes, isn't it, sir?
Yeah. You said that there's a Nimanarati Vasava Deva who has the ability to create anything for getting pleasure. He can do it for devotees also. So if you hear the Christ is giving food, and from one bread he makes 1,000 breads and 1,000 people feed, make it possible. Or we hear of Baba Neem Karoli Baba doing such a thing. It's possible. They have their powers. So we don't kind of ridicule people for having these beliefs. We understand that is possible. It may not be, because this is mentioned in the teaching of the Buddha.
Yes. So then can we understand without developing any kind of ego, Buddha is the highest enlightened being?
Yeah, of course.
And without getting ourselves into ego self again.
Yeah. Certainly.
Yeah.
If we have understood that, then we have to understand. We say that he is the highest because he is free from all ego. You see, so there's a fundamental understanding needed. Why is he highest? Because he's free from all ego. He's all free from all attachments, all identities. So that is our ideal. We also want to move in that direction. So if you have followed the teaching properly, no question of getting egotistic about it. Because we don't follow that teaching properly, then we get to that kind of a wrong view, looking down upon others. Yeah, that's it.
It is
And
also interesting.
sorry, and in Sutta, somewhere they mentioned these devas even met the past Buddha also. It means every time when Buddha arise in the
There's
universe,
there's a huge lifespan.
Ah.
Sampati Buddha mentions it. Sampati Buddha, when he comes to pay, he says, yeah, past Buddhas also I've seen and they will also do this. And he comes at 1 or 2 places also. Yeah, because they have a lifespan, a phenomenal lifespan. Imagine highest devas have so many eons, thousands of eons. So in those eons, many Buddhas may have arisen.
I think this is one of the wrong view most of us have developed over a period of time. You have to drop now immediately, sir, after going through this sutta about other tradition or other deities. Always, yeah. Thank you for this, sir. Thank you.
That's the main purpose of this.
Yeah. Yes.
सर ये जो इसमें कहा गया कि अरहंतों में उत्साह जागा and all of this, like what was the intent of Bhagwan telling first of all that ये सब देव यहाँ आए हैं and then the response of the bhikshus?
I can't say what exactly was the intent, but apparently जो उत्साह जागा वाली बात है वो it comes more in the Mara वाला किस्सा है ना, जहाँ तक मुझे याद आ रहा है, because he creates that scene there and tries to frighten the people around. So normally they won't bother about कि कुछ हो रहा है तो, so he tries to tell them that this is what is happening. Now the idea you were saying कि why is he reciting the names, ये बात कर रहे हैं आप? Is that a question?
Yes, that is also a question. Yes.
Yeah. Apparently the devas who are coming there is actually honoring their presence, in my view. And that's actually honoring their presence. You remember in Sakkapanna Sutta also, the way he addresses Sakka. So he's honoring their presence by reminding the arhants that these are the people who are.
And sir, our takeaway, I mean, I know it's not meant for a takeaway, but still would be that, the ultimately the fully liberated one is so to be venerated. I mean, even so much beyond the, somebody in higher realms, they might be in very, very high realms. Even Mahabrahma is there, but still he's not fully liberated. So at the end of the day, it's the liberated Sangha that, I mean, if one can draw inspiration from that,
Yeah.
It's the ultimate state to be.
See, the first four bhikkhus, who people who come and recite those verses, they are all anagamis. They come from Sudhavasa, Pure Land abodes. So they are all anagamis who come and join the congregation. It's a matter of joy to be in presence of Buddha, Arhants, and then also Devas. So it's like that. So they want to kind of set the stage that the person who is here, you come to pay respects, is really worthy of paying respects. It is also an indirect lesson to people who had difficulty in accepting a human being as becoming fully enlightened. It's a message to them also that fully enlightened person is much to be venerated even by the highest devas. So, when the sutta must have been remembered and shared later, there must be many other people who must have known about it. Because there was initially quite a bit of resistance in accepting that even in devas themselves, that how is the human being coming over into our realm in the whole सारे सशरीर कैसे जा रहे हैं. You remember there is a sutta in which the devas and the Nandopananda actually gets very annoyed and ये लोग ऐसे चले जा रहे हैं. So for us it is also for all the people who are following the path of Buddha has to appreciate the greatness of, I mean, we normally don't appreciate the greatness of an arahant. And we think it is a, यहाँ चार letters हैं, चार stage में हो गए. It's obviously not as simple as we make it out to be. If you recall the first sutta which we studied, Brahmajala Sutta, when you see what are the capabilities of an arahant and what is he supposed to do and to what extent he is supposed to develop this passion, you see it's quite a massive task to be able to have an understanding of the various realms of existence and have a developing dispassion towards them. When we see these glorious devas with all their uh, riddhis, anybody can get enticed giving even to as a place worth going. So it depends on us really with what mindset we look at this. It's generally true of all suttas, especially those which have strong devotional contents. Right? These are all suttas with a strong devotional content.
तो इस सूत्र को जैसे आप सुबह बता रहे थे कि ये ऑस्पिशियस ओकेजन्स वगैरह पे चैंट किया जाता है, from a practice standpoint, can it be used like a buddhanusati, sanghanusati kind of a thing?
Yeah, here to some extent the qualities are given. The this traditional formulation is explicitly for that. Use this big sutta like this would be difficult. But of course, when you chant the whole thing, you realize the greatness of this Buddha, the greatness of the Sangha. So to that extent, yes. But in a regular practice, if you want to do, probably the standard formulation is formed for that.